Yes, I'd like to ask a very basic political question about turnout in both areas. I think probably everyone in this room will be voting, but I understand the turnout in both wards is very low, in the 30% range. And I'd like to ask all the candidates of all the parties if you feel you have done everything in your power and are satisfied that you have done everything you could to get out the vote, especially the vote that is missing, the other 70%, and the young who are really very disillusioned. And if you have done everything in your power, do you feel you've used the new media appropriately and really got hold of people who haven't turned up tonight? Thank you.
Given the only way to publicise on new media. Okay, Leila.
Hello, everybody. No, actually, I don't think we have grabbed onto the media to the best of our capabilities to grab hold of the vote. But I would say this, one point, is, the forefront of this is not necessarily just to vote for the Greens, though it is, but it's to politicise the youth and politicise people to empower them to take control of their environment, of their vote and of their future. And I think that's what the Green's about as well, and that's what my work is about. So that's what I would answer to that, if that's okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Lorna? I would say there actually are far more. There's a younger average age, I would say, here than there was at those of the area action groups, which is a good sign.
The Labour Party and the Cooperative Party from Fortune Green have knocked on every single door in West Hampstead, some doors more than once, most doors in Fortune Green as well, to engage with the voters. Today we actually visited the student residence block in West Hampstead with a stall encouraging people to register to vote. And we also are active on social media, particularly James, Phil, myself and Richard. So we do believe it is very important for people to vote, and I hope that all of you do vote tonight.
Message today was Phil, get on social media. Keith?
Thank you. I think actually we should congratulate Jonathan on really bringing social media alive in West Hampstead. And actually lots of the people here are very active on Twitter, in particular on Facebook, and so I think we try very hard. I think what we do know is it's very hard to use traditional media to get people to engage in traditional ways. New media to get people to engage in traditional ways of doing things. We found that out to our cost with the area forums. We found that people who enjoy using Twitter don't want to come along to meetings in drafty halls on rainy nights. So we really have to think about ways of taking it beyond meetings. And I think all of us, frankly, all the politicians are making an effort to drive up turnout. Bridget, it's the one thing we've probably all got in common, that we do more to drive up turnout than anybody else. Sometimes, Camden officers take pride in some of their schemes to drive up turnout. It has negligible impact compared with politicians knocking on doors and dragging people out. And you know how we all sit outside the polling stations on election day and taking your numbers? That's because we're going to go and knock on the doors of the people who haven't arrived and haven't given us their numbers. Well, we really do want people to vote. So I can honestly say, we've done as much as we possibly could. If we did anything more, I think we'd be in an early grave. So, thank you.
Thank you. Nancy wants to chip in, though.
I'm particularly not very happy because I think what is missing in West Hampstead when I go to meetings is the lack of representation of other ethnic minorities, and I do not want to be the voice that speaks for that. But I'm challenging everyone who's here, because I'm a resident of West Hampstead, that we should do more to encourage our neighbours to actually participate in the process, because we all pay our rates.
Does anyone have anything actually different to add? Too late for you, Phil. Is this actually a new point, Andrew? It's got to be quick then.
all I would say is that in addition to all of that, we've been holding regular street stalls every weekend. We're outside Cafe Nero. And one thing which we have done, which I think is really important, everyone's saying it's very difficult to communicate with Camden. I think if you read our manifesto, that's one of the key messages that comes through it. And what we've done, for example, if there's a planning application, we put out a street letter all year round, letting people know there's a planning application, here's the reference number, here's the officer you need to speak to, so that people can be engaged not just at election time, but throughout the year.
Okay, I'm not sure the planning application number is going to appeal to all the young people in West Hampstead. Yes, that's a good point. I think the idea is everyone is in favour of encouraging voter turnout. Seems to be the message. Magnus, you want to?
Yes, I just wanted to add that it's extremely exasperating for people in my position of trying to recruit people who are so disillusioned with the voting system and have been, because so much power has been taken away from ordinary people and it's been going off to unelected bureaucrats in Brussels and I suppose in Whitehall, but the power is being taken away from the people. Now, I have reflected on this over a period of time, and I have drawn, I wouldn't say conclusions, but ideas about this situation, which I say are my ideas. I want to emphasise these are my ideas. These are not the ideas of Nigel Farage or the party or anybody else who's standing for UKIP. I sometimes think the people who fought for the vote in 1832 and in 1888 and so forth, trying to extend the franchise, are probably doing the wrong thing. And generally speaking, when you start taking things away, or you threaten to take things away, people start clamouring and say they really want it. So I'm just wondering if, for instance, if people have been to jail, perhaps and they lose their vote, the answer is, I just think perhaps we should start reducing the franchise. I personally, and I'm not saying this on behalf of the party I belong to, or anybody else, we are a broad party with all sorts of a mixture of ideas. I think you'll make the vote more interesting if you show that people could actually lose the right to vote if they start committing crimes and they don't. So I'm just reflecting along these ideas. I haven't reached a conclusion, but that's where my mind is going.
Okay, that's the usual stance. Dave wants to comment, and then we'll take the next question.
Right. No, we can never do enough to make people vote. I was actually part of the 38 Degrees initiative to go around, knock on doors and try and get people to sign up and register to vote. Now, it's supposed to be impartial, so I couldn't do it in West Hampstead. I could have, but don't think it'll be fair. I went around Fortune Green, got 4 forms back. I don't know how many of those that didn't return forms aren't even registered to vote because not everyone was in. They were in nice shiny plastic folders that would be wonderful slipping hazards, mind you. But no, nobody here, nobody out there can ever do enough to encourage people to vote. We have to keep trying.
Thank you very much. Does anyone here agree with Magnus, by the way, that we should restrict the franchise? No. Okay.